you invest, do you play it safe or do you, take some risk? It can be a little challenging to do the latter if you don't know where to start. Because, of course, there's practical risk tolerance, like can you afford to lose the money? But then there's psychological risk tolerance, where it just doesn't feel great. And one of the things that can improve on the psychological front is to have a little bit of practice. So, how about practice in a safe environment? And that's what we're going to be talking about today, a way for you to put your trading strategies to the test. It is called the Biggest Winner competition. So it is a 6-week simulated trading contest run by Global X in partnership with National Bank and TSX Group. And joining us to talk about it is Stephanie Wolfe. She is Executive Vice President and Head of Marketing at Global X. Hello there.
Hello, Bruce. How are you?
I'm great. The biggest winner, not the biggest loser. Ha, ha, ha. How does this competition work?
Okay, well, actually, by way of background, this is Canada's longest running investment competition. We're in our 13th year at Global X, formerly Horizons ETFs, yes. And we're very excited to bring it. It is really a competition that runs for 6 weeks. Massive. We have over $20,000 worth of prizes for investors to win. But ultimately, at the end of the day, this gives you an opportunity to go in and trade over 1,400 ETFs at exchange in Canada. Make your own portfolio and battle it out with other Canadian investors to see who will be Canada's biggest winner.
And talk a bit about an ETF strategy in this competition, because some of these stock trading simulations or stock trading competitions include any stock under the sun. This is not that.
No, it's not. And that's actually what makes it so interesting, because ETFs have grown massively over the last decade. As you know, they've really increased in terms of how many we have across Canada. And so originally, I would say when the first ETFs first came about, we had very passive index basic ETF strategies. So you could, put together a very passive ETF portfolio that would track the stock market and it would be completely done for you, easy. The challenge that I would think a lot of investors have now, and perhaps what makes them a little nervous when it comes to trading ETFs, is that the variety and the number of ETFs have increased. So we have active ETFs, we have beta pro ETFs, they're leveraged, we've got covered call products. So many sophisticated layers to these ETF products that I think add some complexity, but also the opportunity to increase the amount of earnings that you can have within a week of this trading platform.
Now, I'm a buy and hold guy. I am so boring in so many ways. This is not that. If you want to do well in this competition in 6 weeks, you got to be a little more aggressive than buying the underlying index of the Dow.
Yeah.
What are some of these strategies that people talk about pursuing in such a short period of time?
Well, leverage is a very popular opportunity for many investors to try in this environment. Some typical ones that we have are beta pro products within our ETF lineup at Global X. But I would say to keep in mind, September and October are typically more volatile, historically speaking, within the stock market. So there's a lot of change that happens week over week. What I will say, Bruce, I'm just going to take a step back for a second, is that we do have weekly prize winners. We have winners each week. And so you can use any volatility that you expect that's going to happen within the market and play against that as well. But, I'm like you, Bruce. I do like the buy and hold strategy. I have put my portfolio together. I've got a little bit of an edge. I've got some diversity in there, and we'll see what happens.
What do you notice about how players factor in the news of the day? So it is a fixed period of time. Lots can happen. In history, there have been some big swings up and down. I think the Nortel revenue warning was in October. There have been a number of stock market crashes in the month of October. How does that factor into the results?
Well, we also have the US elections coming up, right?
Oh, yeah. That.
There's that as well. So that does factor into the results. I would say it's daily. So anybody who really wants to get a feel for even like the challenges that, their advisor might be doing. I mean, if they think they could, maybe challenge their financial advisor, if they do work with one, if they're a DIY investor and an advisor, to really go in and understand what is happening on a daily basis. So they can get their news feeds in the morning, adjust their trades, fix their portfolio for the day, and see how things go.
Now, there is learning in and of itself here. You make your bets, it either goes
Mm.
up, it goes down, you're going to learn either way. What else will people see or experience just by virtue of them participating in the competition? I assume that they're going to get more comfortable with the functionality of the platform.
Yes, and there's also, we've got some learning modules as well that are embedded within the program. And so you do have the opportunity to have some learnings and takeaways as you go through it too. So you can see how other investors as well are winning and what are their strategies, what portfolio mix or what ETFs have they selected that's permitted them to win. So it's always fun. We also have a leaderboard that'll be tracking all of our social media influencers that are participating, all of those names that I think we know within the industry. And so that'll be exciting as well to see who is going to be competing and who's the top.
If you were to go with a group of friends to an axe throwing competition, there would be a disclaimer that would, or at least be implied disclaimer, to not try this at home. As you think about this competition, what would be the don't try this at home that you would remind participants of?
Well, this is what makes it so fun because I think you can try what you normally wouldn't spend with your own money. So you get $100,000 of play money essentially. Yeah. And anything that you've thought this could potentially work in my portfolio, I encourage investors to try it in this portfolio because why not? Let's see where it goes. And so I wouldn't put that disclaimer on here. We do have a cap.
Sorry, I meant the disclaimer of after the competition's over. So after you leave the axe throwing competition, don't go into your yard and throw an axe towards the garage when your, neighbor is cutting their lawn.
That's right. Okay. So I would just say, learn your lessons in this competition, take the risks that you have always wanted to take and watch them play out in real time. And then make sure that you apply those learnings to your own portfolio, what not to do. But it's a great opportunity for investors to really have some fun. And like I said, because they're weekly prizes, they can switch things up. They can try one strategy one week, go in the second week and try a completely new strategy, perhaps all leverage and one week and I'll inverse the other and see what happens.
You mentioned leverage, now mentioned it twice here. What should people know about that as a concept? Because on the upside, woo, amazing, we're going to space. On the downside, it can be a crushing strategy for people.
Absolutely. Almost it's a double effect, right? So double effect up, double effect down. And to dig yourself out of that hole can be almost impossible sometimes. So you do have to be cautious with those types of trades as well. So that's where I think this is a good environment. And, personally, I'm more of a risk averse investor. And for in a competition like this, it is fun to try. But in real life, I'm more cautious when I approach those investments.
Tell me, you mentioned total dollar value on prizes. Tell me a bit more about the pricing. Okay. And is it just money, or is there like signed stock certificates from Warren Buffett or something? I guess he's not a trader. He's more of a buy and hold guy. I'm trying to think of who the iconic investor would be for this kind of trading demographic.
It would have to be like a really solid day trader. Nobody's coming to mind for me right now, but the prizes are pretty impressive. So if you do end up winning the grand prize is $10,000, and that is for the full 6 weeks where you are the trader that has achieved the best success week over week. But what we do have is a second prize of $5,000 and a third place prize of $2,500. And each week we do have $1,000 for those who win within that week of best trades made and basically the highest amount return on their portfolio. So lots of opportunities to win real money with your
play along, but are you allowed to play along given where you work?
I'm allowed, but if I was to win, I would have to forfeit.
And the risk of that happening?
Not likely.
Let's just call it. It's not like I would be terrible at this.
Right,
I would be like, I don't know, I'll buy the Dow. Stephanie,
it's a lot of fun.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Bruce.
Stephanie Wolfe, head of marketing at Global X. She was here to talk about the biggest winner competition, kind of like a stock trading competition, but it uses exchange traded funds.